because I picked up cycling in Australia, so I follow a few Australian cycling influencers.
Durianrider.
So one of them is Durianrider. It's very old school.
Road shoes, mountain bike shoes. What's the difference? The truth. Still a fan of the Shimano pedals. SPD, Shimano make the best mountain bike pedals, the most durable. I still agree that 99.9% of people should use mountain bike pedals and shoes.
God. Okay. Oh, Sam, thanks for coming, man.
Hey, no worries. Glad to be here.
I think we spoke a very, very long time ago when I just started out YouTube.
Too popular.
It's almost been like, what, 4 or 5 months now since we last spoke, and then I thought of getting you on the show. But first, before I want to start this show, I just want to thank Helly, who's behind the camera. He's our sound and camera guy, and I just wanted to tell you because we all met just now. So how I met him earlier, I was selling something on Carousel.
Oh.
It was a camera, we call it a dolly. He messaged me like, hey, can I get this and from you? I'm like, yeah, sure. So this morning I went down and I passed it to him, and I was looking at him. He has like a track bike that was meant for commuting, and he has a BMX helmet. So I thought, okay, maybe this guy is a cyclist, right? And I think we were chatting, and I asked him, so what do you do? Why do you need this? Because this kind of camera equipment is very, if you're a videographer, would probably use it.
Yeah.
So he said he does documentaries, and then he asked me what I did, and I told him, oh, I do like I film bike interviews for fun on the weekends. And he asked me like, are you that guy who films interviews on the car park? I'm like, yes. He watches my videos, and that's how
no one can recognize you on the street.
Yeah, that's how we met each other, and we had coffee, and then I was asking him about my camera gear, audio equipment, and I invited him. He's like, do you want to come on to my shoot tonight? And he's like, yeah. So that explains why he's here, if you're wondering.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a short story. I just wanted to give him credit because he's behind the camera and no one can see him. I hope I can get you on the channel soon. There's a track in Monda over there, beautiful track.
It's a
in
very
Monda.
nice track.
Yeah. We hope to get him here on next time. So anyway, Sam, thanks for coming. Tell us more about yourself.
Oh yeah, my name is Sam. I am sort of a pre-COVID cyclist. I actually started out wanting to do triathlon. But I think during that year, I think it was March, and then lockdown happened, so then I couldn't swim. So I ended up riding my bike pretty much 24/7. And since then, I've been more of a cyclist than triathlete. Yeah.
Wow. So triathlon, you started off doing
initially
triathlon.
My plan was to learn to swim because I came from a running background.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So cycling was super new to me, but ended up liking it more than the other.
Sorry. So how long have you been cycling?
I think that was about start of 2020. So it was about start of 2020. Yeah, correct. So actually it's about 2.5 years already.
So you're in between being a COVID cyclist and not a COVID cyclist.
Yeah, it's like that weird grey area lah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you picked up cycling almost about, you'd say, 2 years now.
Yeah.
What was the first bike?
First bike. So the first bike was a Merida Sculptura. So 400. So it's the aluminium with the 105. So it was quite interesting. So I just walked into this bike shop. It was in Australia lah. So in Australia, they are quite chill with what kind of bike you use. They're quite practical people lah. So I walked in, and then he said, you know, you're not going to be a Peter Sagan. You know, you just need a regular bike with a rim brake, some aluminium wheels, and you're good to go. Then I was like, oh yeah, sure, just fit me with the bike. And I used the bike for about a good 1 year, and then I started getting into like some racing. And the racing, I was in Australia back then, so the racing had a lot of hills. So I was like, okay, I need a carbon bike because it's going to be lighter. So I had a carbon bike. I basically got the same frame geometry, but in a carbon version. So that was my second bike. It was essentially a Sculptura. I think it was a 4000. So once it's the 1000 series, it's all carbon lah. Yeah, so that was the second bike. It was fun, but it was quite flexy. Yeah, it just didn't feel as stiff as the aluminium one, surprisingly. So then I managed to sell it on Carousel when I came back to Singapore, and then I found the next bike was Trek Madone. So it was this really nice Trek Madone frame set itself, but I think it was the first Trek Madone 9. So it was really old, and it had this proprietary rim brake. So I built it up and I used it for a while. It was very aero. It was very fast, but the brakes just didn't cut it lah.
Is it because of the wheel set or brake pads?
I think it's the proprietary brakes that just doesn't have the braking power.
Do you think if you swapped out the brake pads, it would help?
I think if I had tried carbon rim with aluminium brake track, that might help. But I just didn't really feel very safe. And I think ultimately the most important thing about a bike is to feel safe. Yeah.
Which I'll get to my next point is on the disc and why you're still running with it.
Correct.
So you got the Reactor and then you went for the Track Madone.
Yeah.
And then this one?
So then from the Madone, I went to I've been changing so many bikes. I think I went to the F10. So I found a really good deal on the Pinarello F10 rim brake. That bike rode like a dream. Yeah, it was a really good bike. But somehow I was still very itchy. I just want to try different bikes. And because I've been riding rim for about a good 1.5 years, I thought, why not try a disc brake? And then when I first got into cycling, I always liked the brand Cervelo. So this Cervelo S3 came on the market at a very affordable price within my budget lah. So I decided to buy it to try the Cervelo disc. And then I listed the F10 on the market, and I managed to make back what I paid for it lah, because I bought it at a very affordable price, right? So then I was on the S3 disc. It was a good bike. It was very stiff, but it just wasn't responsive. I'm not sure if it's the disc brake, having an additional disc on the wheel that makes a bike less responsive, but my past experience with the rim brake was always, you put the power down, it just goes.
So what do you mean by responsive? As in, when you pedal it, you don't feel it going?
Correct.
It's a bit of lag?
It's the kick, it doesn't have the kick, it's very muted. It's a bit hard to explain. Like, I guess if you have a musical background, it's like, having a rim brake is like staccato, It just is very like...
Staccato for a sequence of fast martelé strokes on the same up bow or down bow.
It just snaps. But then on a disc brake, it somehow feels very muted. Yeah, so I didn't really like it in that sense, but it was a very aero bike, and very stiff. So performance-wise, it was not bad, but I just didn't like it, and I didn't really want to spend money to upgrade the bike. So then this bike came on the market, and I was like, it's too good a deal to turn down, as some of the IG people mentioned it. We can go into detail.
I kind of
later.
roughly told you about the question, so we'll dive into that in the later segment. But just backtracking a bit, F10, right? I've interviewed guys who own the F10 and they mentioned that it's an extremely stiff bike.
Correct.
And very uncomfortable. Is that true?
It is a very strange bike when you first get on it, because it is super stiff and it's very aero at the same time. And it's actually an all-rounder bike, so it's supposed to be light as well. So it feels like it's a very abnormal feeling, But after a while, you really like I really like the curves lah. I think it's quite hit and miss. Some people like it, some people don't. But I just genuinely like the look of it. It was very stiff, and then it's a very aero bike. So I think it's a true all-rounder bike lah.
Would you then consider getting the Dogma F?
I think in an ideal world, why
if
not?
money is not a problem.
Money not a problem, why not?
So you like the curves, the F is okay
Correct.
for you?
I think it's a very unique looking, but I think in this day and age, everyone is using the similar kind of geometry. Only the Pinarello stands out lah.
Right.
Yeah.
Then you got the S3, which is a disc brake bike.
Correct.
What's your thoughts on that? Like you've owned, rim, disc, and then back to rim.
I hated this. Don't get me started.
Okay.
I had a lot of warping on the disc. So there are 2 or 3 times where the disc brake start rubbing. And I changed the pads, I sent it to a mechanic, they troubleshooted everything, but it just kept rubbing on and off. And then I just didn't have the time to do the maintenance of the bike lah. So I decided to sell it off. Yeah. There was someone who really liked the S3 as well, so I was like, why not you just have it? Like I don't have the time to send it to the mechanic to to unwarp the rotors. Anyway, not a fan.
Okay.
Yeah.
But don't you think rim is dead?
Oof. I don't think so though. I mean, Pinarello is still making rim brakes on a... They still do the rim brake version of the Dogma F, right? I think the Colnago still does it as well. I think I was talking to a friend about it, but the main concern I would say that is when wheel manufacturers stop making carbon rims with the rim brake check, then we are in trouble lah. Yeah.
Because I think one day manufacturers will be thinking that, you know what, it's not going to be profitable for us to continue making rim brake and there's no demand for it. Why don't you just chuck it all and just go disc, man?
Yeah, so I think you're gonna have to pay a higher price point to get a rim brake in the future lah. It will never be dead because I think there'll always be a demand.
It'll be very niche.
Correct, it'll be very niche. Yeah. So I have to start saving up for them lah.
For the hike in prices for just that small little part. Okay, so then you have this S-Works SL6, the Marcel Kittel colorway.
Yeah.
If you could just run us through the bike.
Yeah, so it's 2018 S-Works SL6 rim brake edition. It's in the Marcel Kittel colorway. So honestly, I wasn't a cycling fan then, so I think he was a very famous sprinter. Sorry to all the old school cyclists. So this is the original colorway, so I didn't change anything of it. We can go from the top lah. So it's an Aero handlebar. It's the Pro Aero alloy handlebar, so there's only one model of it. It's in 38mm width, so that you can get really nice and aero on it. I have a prime, I think it's a prime Douyin stem in 80mm, so I prefer the reach to be a bit shorter lah. Yeah, it gives you more control of the bike. And moving down, so it's a standard i8000 ultegra mechanical group set with direct mounted rim brakes. So that's pretty standard. I got this all second hand actually. So, and then moving down, you have the rims. So it's a Prime Black Edition 50. So basically, I think Prime is one of the companies owned by Wiggle, online seller of sports products. And the Black Edition is essentially their the performance tier of their carbon rims. Yeah. And their hubs are also Prime hubs lah. So everything is made in-house. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what saddle do you have?
So the saddle, honestly, I got this from the guy that I bought it from. It's a Pro.
Is it Shimano one?
It's not a Shimano one actually. Yeah, it's a Shimano Pro. Yeah.
Okay. And the thing that really sticks out is the pedals, man. Mountain bike pedals.
Mountain bike pedals.
Yes, let's talk about that. Why? Why the mountain bike pedals?
So, because I picked up cycling in Australia, so I follow a few Australian cycling influencers.
Durianrider.
So one of them is a Durianrider. It's very old school.
Road shoes, mountain bike shoes. What's the difference? The truth. Now for years I said mountain bike shoes is the best. Still a fan of the Shimano pedals. SPD, Shimano make the best mountain bike pedals, the most durable. I still agree that 99.9% of people should use mountain bike pedals and shoes because they're easy to walk around in.
So he did make a very good point about mountain bike pedals in a sense that it's very easy to clip in and out. It's very hardy. You don't need to worry about changing your cleats on your shoe. And also, yeah, when I first started out, I tried using clipless road pedals. Yeah, and because where I was living in Australia, it was very hilly. So there was once I tried to clip in on a hill, and I was in the wrong gear. So my leg went straight through the drivetrain. So it was a very, very messy experience. I was quite traumatized. So since then I've been using mountain bike pedals. I would say that it's like a cheap, it's a poor man's speed play lah. Yeah. So maybe in the future I can upgrade a speed play, but not anytime soon. I need to save money for my next bike upgrade lah. Yeah.
But when you say easy to clip in, don't you think you're losing power or do you think that it comes off easily?
Actually, it's quite secure.
Okay.
Yeah.
But does your leg wiggle in? Like, there's a lot of float?
There is a float, yeah. So I actually like the float.
Okay.
Yeah. The float is what I really wanted back then, because the first road pedal I used had maybe 5-degree float. I think this one has more than 5, it's about 10. Wow. Yeah, which I really like. And I don't think there's issue with power transfer. I mean, if you look at mountain bike riders, they're putting out thousands of watts. Yeah, so it is a very firm platform to put down power lah. Yeah, and so far I've never really unclipped off it. You can adjust the settings on the pedals. Yeah.
And you look like you're wearing road bike shoes, right?
Yes. Using I think it's cyclocross shoes. Yeah.
Oh,
so it's a bit more more like a road shoe, so it doesn't look so out of place.
Will you ever budge in and getting road bike shoes, road bike pedals?
I was honestly thinking about it, yeah, but right now I don't really have the time to adjust I think when you change the pedal, you have to kind of adjust the clip position, and then you need to think
Everything needs to be changed.
So it's a bit of a hassle, at this point of time.
Okay, cool. So let's move on then. Let's talk about the frame first. So what is your height, and the frame size is 49?
Height is 167 cm, frame size is 49, yeah. So previously I've been opting for the smallest possible bike frames in the past, yeah, because I feel that if it's too small, you can still adjust the saddle height or the stem length to get a very comfortable snug fit. But if the frame is too big, there's no way you can adjust it to fit you lah. Yeah.
Okay. And you came across this bike on Carousel?
Yes.
What can you tell us the thought process of buying this frame? How do you get it? How much was it?
Oh, so I mean, obviously I got poisoned lah. Yeah, S-Works is a you know, everyone has it, and then I have a close friend JJ that also has a very nice S-Works, and he said, you know, you got to try this bike. It's very stiff. The handling is really good. I was like, how good can a bike be? So the price was good, so I just tried it, and it's true lah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's a marketing thing. I think there is really good performance benefits in this bike lah. Yeah.
Okay. And rim brake on this, you have prime wheels. How are these wheels?
The wheels are very stiff. Yeah, it's super stiff, very responsive. The more you put down the power, it just goes. And I think the most important thing is when you freewheel, the sound isn't too jarring. Yeah, so that's also what I really like about these rims lah.
And you got it from Regal?
I got it second hand also.
Oh, locally here?
Locally, yeah.
Okay, and what tires do you run? These are Vittoria Corsas, right?
Vittoria Corsa Control.
Clinchers?
Clinchers, correct.
If you've seen my videos, a lot of people are running tubeless.
Yeah.
Ever thought of going there?
I've never had a puncture in Singapore for the past 1.5 years, so if it's not broken, why do you fix it?
What's the tire pressure that you run?
80.
Quite low.
Quite low, yeah, and it's just nice.
Yeah. Okay, cool. What should we talk about next? Handlebar, these are Shimano Pros, right? Alloy. Why did you go for this one?
Honestly, budget. Yeah, because I on my previous Pinarello, I had the 38mm for the carbon ones. But those costs way above my budget lah. And I wanted something hardy because I actually take this bike to race.
Oh,
so
okay.
I think the first contact point if you go down would be the handlebar. So I didn't want to spend too much money on that. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
But it's never crashed lah. It handles too well. Yeah.
Yeah. And overall, how's the performance of SL6? I mean, why didn't you get SL7? Will you move on to the SL7? Or it's more of like a price thing?
I mean, I'm a Durianrider fan, and you know, if Durianrider does not approve the SL7, I wouldn't go there lah.
Why did you get his bike though? You know, Durianrider used to sell his own Pragma.
I think they closed the factory, right? You had your previous.
Yeah,
your previous.
What do you think of that bike?
I thought the color is just too loud. Yeah, like no, I'm not a fan of. You know, you need to take. I don't take everything he says for truth lah. You know, you take the good parts, and some stuff is a bit questionable. But yeah, I think what he says has some truth in the sense that a lot of these bikes are from these big factories that produce mass amount of carbon frames. So I wouldn't know how good his frames are, but yeah, I mean the S-Works is tried and tested, so why not? Yeah.
Okay. And direct mount brakes. So direct mount is where it is hinged here on the fork, right?
Yeah.
Instead of the top. So there are two bolts.
Yeah.
Do you find any difference having direct mount or compared to the one with a single bolt?
So my first bike, it has a single bolt, and I find that sometimes in the middle of the ride, if you don't secure it properly, it moves. Yeah. But so then it starts rubbing. But for direct mount, I've never had this issue of rubbing disc brakes, rim brakes, unless I did not secure the quick release skewers properly lah.
Okay. Thoughts about OSPW? I know you don't have one.
Oh, no, it's not for me, you know.
Have you ever had one?
I did. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the Cervelo had this. I think it's Chinese brand OSPW. It's too much lah. I think it takes away the attention from the frame itself. Yeah.
Let's move on to dislikes.
Dislikes. Ouch.
Or anything that you think could be improved on the frame bike in general?
I think the frame is as good as it gets. In terms of control. You know, going down. I always remember when you go down, the first time you go down Rifle Range Road, and there are lots of turns and you're going very quickly. I think that's the true test of how well the bike handles. Yeah, when I go down with this bike versus other bike, this bike gives me more confidence to go down. And where you shift your weight, the bike literally just goes where you want it to go. So frame-wise, I don't think you can get. I wouldn't know lah. You know, I've never tried top-end bikes now, but I think this is it lah. I think anymore you have to be a pro rider to tell the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I say dislike. I mean, I want a Di2 lah.
Oh, Di2.
I think mechanical gets the job done, but sometimes it just doesn't shift up. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I think mainly that's the next upgrade if I would have to make one. Yeah.
I forgot one question. What is the weight?
Weight is 65.
Wow, very light. If you're gonna get a disc brake, I don't think you can ever, go below 7 kilos. It's at least 7.5. I mean, I've never really seen.
Oh, sorry, the weight of the bike is it?
Yeah.
The weight of the bike.
Oh,
actually,
not your weight. Sorry.
Oh, not my weight. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
The weight of the bike.
I thought you said
measured.
6.5.
Yeah, I've never measured it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have the?
I have the scale. We probably measure it
I
later.
think you can measure it later.
Guess.
I would say it's 7.4 lah.
7.4.
Definitely not. I don't think it's under 7.
Okay. Okay. And I noticed when I was parking your bike, you have a Seabear BB.
Yes.
Was that something that you upgraded later on, or it came with the bike?
No, this came with the bike when I bought it from the previous owner.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I never had any issues with creaking.
But I think it's the smoothness, right? Because those
and
are
it's very smooth. Yeah.
very smooth bearings.
Correct.
Do you think
It's very
that's one of the biggest upgrades someone can make? I mean, obviously besides the frame and wheel set.
Yes. My previous bikes, I think my first 2 bikes didn't have ceramic bearing bottom bracket. Yeah. So those occasionally will creak, and then when water gets in, wow, it's a headache. But so far I've ridden this in the rain. There's no issues with creaking lah. Yeah.
Do you go for a bike fit?
I did actually.
Which one?
I went to Bikes and Bikes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a family friend that runs a store. So when I had the Cervelo, because they had the Cervelo distributor, I sent it for servicing, and I also did a bike fit there. So honestly, I don't really see the difference. Like, I don't really feel the difference. Yeah, because I have a trainer at home, so I actually can video myself on the bike.
Yeah, that's the way, man.
Ultimately, it's whether you feel comfortable in it, and when you look at yourself riding on the trainer, I think you can kind of tell where the parts of the body that has a lot of tension, and you just adjust accordingly.
But you do racing.
Yeah, I do race.
A lot of people I interviewed say that, oh, you're gonna race, you're gonna do this long term, you should go and get a bike fit.
Right, yeah.
Is that something that you think it's critical?
Right now, no lah. I don't think I'm at that level yet.
Yeah.
I think if you're at that level and you really want to get a marginal gains, then yeah. But if you're not uncomfortable on a bike, you're not getting weird sores here and there, I don't think you need a bike fit lah.
Yeah. Or you could just tinker around with your bike if you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything you want to talk about that I missed? I think I've covered most of it.
Yeah, I think you've covered most of it.
Okay. You want to move on to the IG questions? It's the interesting part.
Sure.
All right. There's so much background noise. I want to apologize if people can hear this banging. I think it's like Hungry Ghost that's happening. Okay, cool. A couple of roasting questions. Let me run the intro. So we move on to the IG Q&A. If you guys want to submit your questions, you can follow me on Instagram and you get a chance to ask your questions for the next interview. Sam, you ready?
Yes.
The first one. Why did you go for a fully integrated cabling?
Ouch. I mean,
he says that it will only probably cost you like $40.
Fully integrated cabling. So I've been thinking about getting a one-piece integrated handlebar, but I worry about if it will affect my fit. Yeah, because you can't adjust the
stem.
The stem, correct. So that's what I worry. But I mean, honestly, I really want a fully integrated cabling.
But nowadays, most handlebars come as a one piece, which is exactly your point, right?
Correct.
The stem, you can't adjust it.
Yeah.
But the thing about your stem, it's very short. 80 millimeters, and you have already a very small frame.
Correct.
You said you wanted a shorter reach?
I prefer a more compact, a more shorter reach.
So, but when you go for races, don't you think you're like a parachute and you're like a bit too high up, or you just go very low?
Not really, yeah. I think because the saddle height is quite high, so I can actually go quite low when I'm in the drops. Yeah. So in the drops, it's fine. Yeah.
How do you train for races? Do you actually train, or you just go and ride whenever you want?
So shout out to Tribal. So
What's Tribal?
Tribal is one of a triathlon club. Yeah, it's a local triathlon club run by a friend of mine. So he actually gave me a training plan to do on the trainer at home and also do outside. So it's pretty much 8 weeks of just targeted training for the specific race that you want to do. Mostly on the trainer lah. I think outside in Singapore it's very hard to train because there's too many traffic lights and then it's too much traffic. Yeah, so mostly on the trainer and then weekends you just get your miles in. Yeah.
So would you say getting a trainer is crucial to somebody who wants to improve?
I think that's the best upgrade you can ever get.
Really?
Yes.
I've never owned a trainer, man.
I think it's not for. I think it depends on what type of cycling you do. If you're in cycling for the social aspect, not so much the performance aspect, then you don't need a trainer. Yeah, people will find a trainer very boring. But if you're in it for the performance wise, you do get really fit on a trainer. Yeah.
Okay. What about nutrition?
Nutrition, definitely. Yeah, you definitely need to eat a lot. Yeah.
High carbs?
High carbs.
Just as Durian says, right?
Yes, as Durian says, correct.
Gotta carb the fuck up. If you want your clean blood, you gotta carb the fuck up.
And a lot of sugar?
And a lot of refined sugar.
Okay, cool. Shout out to Durianrider for that. Next question is on your cassette. Is this 1128?
Yes.
Why
it's 1128.
Why 1128?
Honestly, I didn't really put much thought into it.
It just came with a bike?
It just came with a bike. Yeah, I don't really have an issue with the gear ratio lah. I think recently my friend asked me, what gear ratio do you use for Cameron Highlands? I honestly didn't really think much about it. I just brought my bike there.
This bike?
Yeah, I brought this bike there.
Okay.
And the bike just went up the Cameron Highlands.
How's it like riding in Cameron Highlands?
It was really enjoyable, yeah.
How are the roads?
On the road, I think that's when this bike really comes to life. Because ultimately this is a climbing bike lah. It's really light. So I think I really enjoyed the bike when I was at Cameron Highlands. Yeah, in Singapore you don't really feel it lah. Yeah.
Are you trying to be a purist, keeping to mechanical and rim brakes?
Oof. I would say yes, I am a purist in a lot of things that in my opinions lah. Yeah, but I don't think the disc brake technology is there. Yeah, I mean the fact that you have like Chris Froome putting out 15-minute videos of him ranting about disc brakes shows that it's just not there yet. Yeah.
What do you mean by not there, or what can be improved?
I think one is so the warping. I don't know how they can actually fix the warping issue.
I've never had a disc brake that warped though.
Warped.
Yeah.
I think it's just my luck.
Yeah, probably.
So I actually don't mind going back into it and giving another try lah. But I mean, to be fair, my past bad experience, I think mainly was because the wheels I was running was 23 millimeters. So I think you need wider tires to get the braking power for disc brakes. Because it's the contact patch, right? It's the contact at the ground. So there was once where I brought the bike up to Norseman, and on the way down, it just started sliding. I was like, okay, I'm not. This bike is not for me.
How are the prime wheels? The reviews on it says that there is no drain holes near the rear rim.
No drain holes.
Have you ever had issues where water was just stuck in there?
I don't think so. I've never heard water whooshing around.
Yeah.
But,
so overall review about these wheels from your opinion.
So the reason why I bought Prime was back then I was on a budget as a student, and there weren't many established Chinese brands. Yeah, so that was before Hypers, Windspace Hypers were very established, or the elite wheels. So Prime was sold by a very established sports retailer online, and it's very easy. It's super accessible. They ship it within like 1 week. So I gave it a try, and I think these wheels are really stiff. It's basically enough lah. Yeah, it's good enough.
What kind of wheel sets will you get next?
Next,
factoring price.
I actually want to try the Elite wheels.
Elite Drive,
Yeah.
I think it's called, the new one.
Elite Drive, yeah. Because they have like the ceramic bearings, right?
Do you think ceramic bearings are worth it then?
I wouldn't know. I have to try it for myself. Yeah, but I mean, I did have a conversation once with someone who has tried all your top wheel manufacturer brands and the Prime, and I think he said that the difference is so marginal. Yeah, you're mainly paying for the brand and the design lah, which some people really like. But for me, I'm not too particular about it.
Any plans to upgrades in the future?
Or Di2.
Only Di2.
Di2 first, and then probably a integrated handlebar. Yeah.
Why does a Sprinter, because it's a Marcel Kittel colorway, have a climbing bike as a signature?
Actually, I was looking him up, and actually, the pictures of him online were mainly on his Venge. Yeah, so I don't think he actually used this bike a lot. But I think because the design was so unique, they brought it onto the climbing frame as well. Yeah.
Okay. Is this bike going on sale?
Oh yeah, it's on sale on Carousel right
It's already
now.
on sale?
Yeah, it's been on
Oh
sale.
wow, okay, so why are you selling it?
So I've been watching a lot of Sika reviews. Yeah, so I think you had the bike doctor on and
Jack.
Yeah, and everything just looks super well made. And I think recently there were a few videos on by Cam Nickel that really said that, you know, he said that essentially the bike is top performance bike lah. So I think I wouldn't mind trying it for that price point, because I don't believe a bike beyond the 6,000 range, you know, I think the kind of benefits you get is not that much. So
It's like diminishing returns.
correct, and Sika is within that nice 6,000 price range that I could possibly try lah, but I need to, you know, you need to sell this bike. So if you wanna, you know, try this bike out, feel free to reach out. Yeah.
But what are your thoughts about the Sika looking like a Factor? Ostro?
I actually don't think it looks like a Factor though.
Really?
This part here doesn't look. The Ostro is a lot thicker, right?
Probably a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, I think the branding is a lot nicer in my opinion. Yeah, I'm sorry.
How much is a Sika going for now, the Exceed?
I think to build it up to Di2 without the wheels is about 6,000.
Ooh.
Yeah, but I actually saw a few second-hand ones online that is about that, my budget lah.
If you get a Sika, let's do this again.
Sure.
When I posted the IG story, I listed the price, so it's a
Yeah.
Can I mention this on camera?
Sure.
Okay. So the question is, a lot of people are asking about the price, right?
Yeah.
Are you sure it's 1,000? Because these guys, SL6 Sport, also is much more than this.
I think, I mean, at first I was also quite skeptical. So I had to do my due diligence lah. So one of which is I got him to verify the bike at T3. So at T3, they have this app where they can scan the barcode and the serial number at the bottom of the frame. So once you scan it in, it will tell you the model and when it was purchased. So essentially, that's how I make sure that it's legit lah. Yeah. And I think the reason why he couldn't get it off the market was, one is his rim brake. You know, everyone says, you know, I want to upgrade to this upgrade. And then, so rim, the demand is definitely less now. Two was that it was initially on the older Ultegra model, so it was on the 6870. Yeah, and the handlebar, stem, and everything was very like entry-level spec components. Yeah, so essentially I paid for the frame and the group set lah. Yeah.
We're out of IG questions, but I've got a few more personal questions to ask you. So you raised, okay, let's talk about the frame first. So this second-hand bike frames, right? And you've had a fair share of buying second-hand stuff.
Yeah.
Tips for people who want to buy second-hand frames or bikes.
Wow.
What should they look out for?
I think one important thing to look out for is to make sure there are no. I think you can look at you want to make sure that it's never crashed before. One way you can identify that is you check the paint. Make sure there is no abnormal paint defects lah, that someone might have painted over it. Because ultimately safety is the most important thing. So you just make sure that it's never crashed before. Sometimes I like to knock the frame to make sure that the sound is consistent throughout.
You're like buying fruits.
Yeah, like buying fruits, right? Like avocado. Sometimes if it's soft, then there's something wrong there.
But I just want to top up on that, because when I bought my Venge secondhand, I
Yeah.
did not do that. I was just rushing to buy it, right?
Yeah.
I was just so excited on to buy it. And only when I went home, I ran my fingers through the paint and I realized there was inconsistency in the paint, especially on the seat stay. So
Yeah.
you might have crashed before, or the guy was just trying to
Correct.
cover up something I don't know.
You will never know lah.
Yeah, so that's I think a very good one that you mentioned.
Yeah, but I think at the end of the day, I think you have to establish the rapport with the seller, and also who the seller is, kind of gives you a hint of how well the bike has been taken care of lah. Yeah, but ultimately it's a risk you have to take, but you're paying for. I mean, what you pay is what you get lah. Yeah, that's basically it.
One of my neighbors, he has this exact same bike, same color, but it's an OEM one. So just now I was just talking to Helly when we were
Yeah.
checking out your bike. I was like, oh, curious, is this OEM or not? I mean, I took your word for it that it's not
Correct.
OEM because you say you got it
I think you
verified.
never know, you know.
Yeah, so how do you think that you could pick this up as an OEM or not? Let's say if somebody wants to buy it and it's like, oh, the guy got conned into thinking that it's the original, but it's actually an OEM. How do you figure out?
It just goes back to you scanning the barcode lah.
But do you think the barcode could be duplicated? Like someone would have, snapped?
Yeah, I mean, it could be if they went through that much effort to make sure it's so replica. I don't know. Yeah.
Or probably you look at the paintwork. So Helly was just saying that you take out the seat post and you can look at the way
the inside, right?
The inside, whether there's any defects or
I wouldn't
chips.
know.
And I think also probably with the weight of the frame. Usually OEM ones are much heavier to the original ones. Yeah. Anything else that you think people should look out for in buying frames? Just from your experience.
I think in Singapore so far, people are quite sensible with the way they ride their bike. So I think in Singapore the risk of getting a dodgy, a broken frame is low. But in terms of the risk of getting an OEM frame, I think that one is quite high. Yeah, and like what you said, if someone actually copied the barcode, there's no way around it already. Yeah.
Okay.
But ultimately, I think the true test is when you ride the bike.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, we are done. Maybe just quick wrap up about the frame overall. I know this is going on sale. Here's your pitch.
So over here, you have one of the last dying breeds of it's a rare breed of true racing pedigree. Ultimately, I think you have to try rim brakes. Like, don't get conned into saying that, people say this brake is better. I don't think so. Like, if you put common sense, if you put a metal plate on your wheel, that's going to add weight to your bike lah. So I think a rim brake bike deserves a try. And yeah, this colorway, I've never seen this colorway in Singapore so far. So, you definitely stand out. Yeah.
Spoken like a true durian rider fan. You're doing durian rider, good thing.
We need to bring him onto the channel.
Yeah. Sam, thank you so much. And
No
again,
worries.
thanks to Helly who's behind the camera. I think that's the end, man. Thanks. And I hope this video will probably come out 3 months later after filming it.
It's okay.
I don't know by then whether you have the Sika or not. If you do, if you're watching this 3 months later, if you have the Sika, please come again. And that's it. Thank you so much, Sam.
Thanks so much.
Searching all night, can't seem to focus this double sight. This is a tale sworn in a sight.